Your favorite fat boys.
Man on the track, bitch!
What's up, everybody? It's your favorite fat boy, Jerron.
Stefan, a.k.a. Mayhem, a.k.a. Mr. Breaking and Entering, a.k.a. Mr. 25 to Life.
You these AKAs.
Hey, you know what we do.
All right, so today we're going to talk about a few issues here in recent news with the Amber Guyger case that she recently got sentenced to 10 years.
Right.
And we're also going to touch on the college admission scandal.
Yeah, there has been a sentencing that has occurred recently.
Right, it's only 14 days for, what's her name? Felicity Huffman.
Yeah, and then you told me about the meme that's been going around where they compare what she got to Tanya McDowell. So we're going to talk about that as well.
Right, so we're going to, this is more about social injustice episode again. You know, we talk about the current takes and, you know, just to bring a broader perspective to it.
Right.
So, and so we'll start with the more recent one. Botham Jean, who was in his apartment, and Amber Guyger thought that it was her apartment. Guyger, and got in and was startled and shot him pretty much.
Yeah, apparently he left his door unlocked. She walked into the apartment and just assumed that somebody broke into her apartment because she assumed that was hers, pulled out her gun and shot him. She was a uniformed police officer.
Yep. So she was recently sentenced this week. I don't know, first degree murder, second degree murder, but it was murder. And she got 10 years.
10 years.
10 years for killing a black man. So you think about that?
I mean,
sentence?
it ain't so much for 10 years for killing a black man, but 10 years for walking into somebody's apartment and killing them.
Yeah. Black man's just extra.
Right. Justice.
Right. So how you feel about that sentence given the situation and like the climate of officers getting away with murder?
I mean, for one thing, it's a step in the right direction, holding officers accountable for their actions. Mm-hmm. I mean, granted, this is a bit of an extreme case, pretty open and shut. There's absolutely no way in the world that she should have gotten away with it. If they had gave her any other sentencing, that would have been a riot.
It would have been a riot at mid-Marches, as I think usual, because I was expecting her to walk. I was very surprised she even got convicted. Because typically for officers, like, they don't get convicted. They get fired, lose their pension.
Yeah, I mean, but there was no way that there was no defense that her lawyers could have pulled that would have got her off from this.
They tried, because the judge allowed her defense team to use the Castle Doctrine, which is, you know, you stand your ground in your home. And they tried to apply that here. I'm glad that they did not see that as a form of defense because she was in somebody else's home. Right.
Yeah. Again, she was a uniformed officer in somebody else's home. And then the fact that they waited almost 24 hours before they even gave her a toxicology test to see if she had alcohol in her system. So, I mean, clearly it had to have been a case of she was drunk. And she was drunk in uniform, right, which you're not supposed to do.
Right, because she definitely got fired probably, I think, very soon after the fact. So it's sad that happened. It's crazy as it sounds.
Right.
It's very sad that it happened. It's a step in the right direction. I won't say it's satisfying, but it's definitely a step in the right direction to see officers being held accountable. I've recently been looking on the social media pages of Twitter and Instagram. It's been a lot of uproar of Botham Jean's brother, father, and the judge and other people of color showing Amber compassion. It's not, like as to and because the brother said, I love you. Hope you find peace. Hope you find God. The father said, I got nothing but love for you.
Wait a minute. So the uproar is the fact that they are showing compassion to the woman who killed the person, but she did get convicted for the crime. Isn't that the justice?
They're not talking about that. They're not talking about that at all. It is, and it is some uproar with the fact that she got 10 years. Because the question is, if it was reversed, if it was a black man killing a white person, would the black man serve more time?
But I think 10 years is an ample amount of time for some retarded shit that you did, and especially if it led to the death of somebody. And the fact that they're showing her compassion, I mean, why not? What does it change? I mean, it's not like you got God looking down on them and saying, oh, you know what? You got to continue to hate her. That's a good attitude. I'm going to bring your brother back. so why do they need to keep hating her? The shit's over. He's dead. There's nothing they can do that's going to bring him back. So shit, let it go.
I agree with you. For me, I can only speak for me. And I hate when people say, well, that was me, I wouldn't do this, Y, and Z. You don't know what other people are going through.
Right.
And that in that time when they lost their son, their brother, in this is a horrific way. So to say you want to show that person no compassion, you may not show it right then and there, but you probably will forgive them sometime later on. And I can't remember exactly when this happened, but it's very, very, it's still I think it happened this year sometime, not last year. It's been it's only a few months old, I think.
No, I mean, I think it happened last year. 2018. Yeah,
so
2018.
So 2018. So I don't think nobody could put a time on their grieving process and when they can forgive, and when they expect or to forgive or not to forgive somebody. But if he had enough strength to say, "Hey, I love you, I forgive you, and God bless you," more power to him.
Yeah, if that's the peace his faith brings, so be it.
Right. So I don't think we should be mad at that. I think that's also showing that not just black people that we are compassionate. I think it's showing humans can be compassionate in a very tough time.
Right, in the face of adversity.
Right, and
we've seen that all throughout history.
Yeah. So I know one thing: somebody take me out, you better not forgive them.
Oh shit!
You better not my revenge.
I already got plans in motion, just in case.
So, but yeah, I didn't have a problem with it. It is weird because what I did find weird is that I never seen a judge go hug somebody before. Not in that setting.
I mean, I don't know much about that particular judge, but I mean, the woman, what is she, in like her 30s?
Amber?
Yeah.
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, 10 years is a long fucking time.
Yeah.
You lose a lot of life, and the judge is sentencing you to that. And also, she might have been caught up in the emotions from the family who were forgiving her. I mean, like the judge said, she gave the Amber a Bible, so she's definitely one of those big faith believers, and so that was probably part of it.
Yeah, so that was with me to see a judge hug a what's she, the defendant or plaintiff? She's the defendant. The defendant. So I think that imagery was a little weird for me because I've never seen it before.
Yeah,
and
there's plenty of judges who have that level of compassion.
Oh, I'm sure.
I mean, but if you don't look for it, you won't find it.
That too. So I think that also was a big key there. Was like a lot of people were like, well, I never seen that before. What is she doing? How could they? It wouldn't be me. I mean, and maybe whatever she said, because they did show. I think it was her testimony of of the events, and she was crying, and I think some people are numb to white women tears. They think they kind of they use them just to get out of shit. So.
Well, then, damn, she need to rework on her power. She still got sentenced to 10 years.
Sorry, baby. You got this time, though.
Your white woman tears is ain't working. You gonna have to re-up on that.
So yeah, when I saw it, I was like, okay, she seemed remorseful, and I think they're trying to spin the story like she knew him because there's a picture floating around between the picture together, and I think because they might have been neighbors. I think.
They lived in the same building,
right? So who's to say they didn't take a picture at some kind of function at the building they lived in? So they tried spinning like maybe she knew him, and it was they had like a lover's call,
jilted lover type situation.
Yeah, because they said like she had they said she had an affair with her psychologist, I think. So I won't say he was he was having an affair with her.
Either way, it's not relevant at this point.
Yeah, so they try to spin some story, but I think she is sorry for the fact that this was it was a mistake.
Yeah, I mean, part of the fact is that people don't like to believe that random occurrences occur. Mm-hmm. Things have to be connected because otherwise, then the world's just fucking crazy.
Oh, the world is crazy.
The world is fucking crazy. Random shit happens.
Yeah. I mean, shit, Trump got elected president.
That happened.
That's a long crazy. So, but, I think what I would take from it is, no matter how bad things get, is always that window to show compassion. Now, whether you want to do it there, right then and there, or later on, that's totally up to that person. So, and
if you choose not to do it at all, that's totally up to you as well.
Yeah, because the mother did not say anything at all. I won't say she didn't forgive her, but she didn't say anything at all, and that's all right.
You can either say I forgive you or fuck you. That is your right.
I think you're supposed to say I forgive you, but I won't forget.
Oh, okay.
That's that Craig Street Avenue shit used to know.
Craig Avenue.
So, and then another thing I saw, because they talking about the sentencing of black people, like how it's not fair. We know it's not fair. The system's not fair. It's not built for us.
Yeah, it was built to keep us down. That's by design. So we know it's not fair.
Right. So there's two stories I want to bring up. One was that a black man got sentenced to 45 years in jail for killing a police dog. I mean, not to say dog lives don't matter, but
I mean, because the thing about it is that in some states, dogs, the laws say that dog is a family member. Mm. So for a lot of people, your dog is your family. So I guess I can understand that. 45 years might be a bit much. I mean, he must have been a really beloved dog.
He must have been the whole force for 45 years.
So 45 years is a bit much, but then it comes up, along the lines of, how do you value an animal's life versus a human's? I mean, Mike Vick did like what, 2 years, almost 2 years for the dog fight. Yeah, so I mean that's animal cruelty. So I mean, I think not to devalue a dog's life, but 45 years is a bit much. And I didn't read the whole story because I don't know. Especially when dogs only live for an average of like 16. So I'm like, how old was the dog? He was probably on his last leg anyway. He about to retire, right? I'll see. If he only had like a few more years left on the force. All dogs go to heaven. Oh, that's wrong. Oh, that's wrong. Said sending them there early. We're gonna get so much hate. Right. And then like I said, I just think it's a bit much. I mean, yeah, I think 45 years is a tad bit much. But I guess it's to send a message more than anything. I think that's what it is. Like, I think they've always been sending a message to us. And then they make an example, and they continue to set the example, and then there's no reform to, like, all right, you know what? We're going to reduce some of these sentences here. Yeah. I mean, that's the justice system in a nutshell. Right. And then others was another black man. There's a trend here. He got sentenced to 10 days in jail and a year probation, and had to do 150 hours of community service for being late to jury duty. Well, I mean, I don't even is that a black thing though? Because if you miss jury duty, they will put a warrant out for your arrest. That's true. I'm sorry, I didn't mean in the contents of black people being late to jury duty. Just the fact that these sentences towards black people. See, I would have to do some more research on that one because again, I don't know. In that case, I don't know if it's a black or white thing because. The courts get real uppity about that whole jury duty thing. They do. Performing your civic duty. And if you just kind of skip out on it without some, good explanation, at least good enough in their eyes, again, they put a warrant out on you for your arrest.
That's true. They definitely will, and or not, you have to pay a hefty fine.
Right. So yeah, I don't know if that particular situation is a race thing.
Okay.
So I would have to look up the trends for what's the punishment that people have gotten for missing jury duty.
Well, do you think homeboy should have spent 10 days in jail though? I mean, because I know the slip always says you gotta come in. If you don't, you won't be out, and you will get you will pay a fine. Again,
it's up to the judge's discretion what the punishment is.
Okay, that's the judge. He's being a stickler.
Yeah, it's up to the judge's discretion. Mm. Yeah, there's no set rule that says, okay, if you miss jury duty, serve this amount of time, pay this fine. It's up to the judge's discretion.
Hmm. Well, I think that judge is a dick. Because it's just jury duty. I mean, yeah, he getting paid for it, but it's only $15 a day. That's just for lunch.
So again, it's a part of your civic duty. The jury is a part of how the justice system works.
But I think
jury of your peers.
I think jury duty should be volunteer.
See, I mean, if you make it voluntary, then you got to look at who's going to volunteer for that.
A bunch of old white people.
Yeah, who got nothing better to do with their time.
There you go. So maybe that's not a bad thing. Not all you old white people that want to go to jury duty. But I guess the way what it is fair enough. But I think it's just a waste of time. I hate going to jury duty.
I see value in it because as opposed to just having some random ass person who doesn't know anything about you or your situation just pass judgment on you, it's really draconian. So having a jury of people of your peers makes a lot of sense. But then again, you got to look at, you might have just a jury full of dumb folks.
Yeah, I get that. So I will want
scales to it,
right? If I was on trial, I would want people of my similar background to be a part of the jury. I just think the process of the fact you got to get up at 8 o'clock in the morning, wait in line, just sit in the room.
What's wrong with getting up at 8 o'clock in the morning?
I don't want to go there for jury duty.
Oh, okay. I mean,
I gotten up, gotten up to go to work, but it's like
they're paying you, so it's kind of the same.
Yeah, you give me $15 to go eat lunch.
Everybody's saying they give you lunch.
It's just boring.
Yeah, it definitely is boring.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like I feel like I'm wasting my time. Plus, on top of that, I don't want to be the person their life is in my hands.
Oh man, that's a bit of a huge responsibility.
Hell yeah. You fucked up, not me. And I gotta be witness to this.
Hey, brother, I'm sorry to tell you this, but you're going to jail. And I was part of that decision.
Go sit next to him. Hey, my bad, dog, but you gotta do this 5 to 10 real quick. All right,
you get in this bed.
All right, praise God. Yeah, I just don't like the overall process of it, and I've been called for jury duty like 3 or 4 times, and I've always said some bullshit excuse to get out of it. So,
I've only ever gotten jury summons a couple times, but I've only ever actually had to physically be there once.
Lucky bastard.
There's only one time that my number got called.
Yeah, every time I went, then my number got called, and then I was like, I can't do it. So I get some bullshit excuse. But speaking of sentencing, the last one was the college admission scandal.
Yeah, college admission scandal.
Yeah, so they were pretty much bribing the admissions board for their children to get in, right?
Well, not the admissions board per se, but different officials in colleges so they can get their kids into the specific schools.
Okay. And I guess it was a whole ring of them doing this. And
yeah, I mean, it wasn't just at one school. This was a thing that was going on. Mm-hmm. It was mostly, rather affluent white folks who were doing it. But instead of them donating a shit ton of money to get a building in their name, to get little Taylor in school, they were giving it straight to some guy who was, setting up the situations for them.
Now, I need to find these white people so I can get some money from them. I ain't gonna bribe them. I just want to give me some money. But I got a problem, though, don't I?
Right. I mean, you can always petition them to give you cash. I don't know how well that's gonna work out for you.
It'd be threatening. It's going to be threatening.
Yeah, a little bit.
So, but yeah, one of the people involved, Felicity Huffman, was sentenced to 14 days in jail for her acting the scandal here.
Right.
So we knew so that, and I hate to I guess acknowledge this black and white sentencing here. Like we just went over different examples of black people getting sentenced for their crimes, and Felicity Huffman here is getting 14. Now Amber Guyger got her 10 years.
Right.
She's going to jail. And on top of that, I think you look at it like this way: she was an officer, and it's a conviction. It went to trial. She got prosecuted, and she got sentenced. That doesn't happen too often.
Right, yeah, especially when the police officer involved.
Right. And then this case here, and I mean, I don't know how much money was thrown around, but 14 days seems pretty light. And I don't know what the sentencing would be in the case of, I guess, bribery.
Yeah, I mean, the thing about it is that how much time do you think a person whose crime is they gave somebody some money to try to get their kid into a college, how much time do you think they deserve? One, they're not a danger to anybody at all.
So why is this a crime then? Who told? Was they mad? Was they mad the kid didn't get in, so they told on her? Like
again, I mean, it just all fell apart. I mean, it involved like only a small number of people, so it was going to come out eventually.
Mm.
So again, the question would be, how much time do you think is enough for a punishment? And I know when you sent me this, you sent me there's a meme going around. They were comparing it to the woman Tanya McDowell who was getting 10 years. And what the meme said is that she just did that because she was enrolling her son in the wrong school district. And they was calling it larceny. But then, when you do the research on it, because as I've said prior, we want to be better than everybody else. I don't want to just say things to enrage people. You do your research on it, and then she didn't get 5 years for just signing her child up in the wrong school district. There was other charges involved. Drug possession, I believe, in prostitution.
Well, that gets you jail time real quick.
Said, and even her lawyer said that it was one of the best deals that they could get, the plea deal that they took. Because if they would have took it to trial, she would have been looking at somewhere along the lines of like 30 years.
Woo! Yeah, I think she got 5 years.
Yeah, she got 5 years. But the way it's being framed online is that, Felicity Huffman only got 14 days for bribing people to get her kid in school.
Yes.
But Tanya McDowell got 5 years for lying to get a kid in a better school district.
Yes,
it's not an apples to apples comparison.
Yeah, that definitely is how it's being framed. That she got 14 for bribing. She got 5 years for lying for her address so son get a better school.
Right, getting a better school district. But that's not the case. She got 5 years of a plea deal for one that was included, but also for drug possession and prostitution.
Shit, I take 5 years too. I had all that in my bracket.
Exactly. So it's not. So again, people, regardless of what you see online, do some research, find some secondary sources. Don't just believe it, because everybody has an agenda, regardless of whether they explicitly say it or not.
Yeah, I agree with you there 100%, because when I look at some of these topics, a lot of times it's the internet and it's clickbait. So,
yeah, definitely. It's people who are angry will click something a lot faster, and you will generate far more traffic if something that you put up there is controversial and makes people angry.
Right. But I think a lot too, we are quick to react instead of researching. Yeah. Because a lot of times people will see these headlines and then they'll get on like Facebook Live or Instagram Live and then just rant for 5 or 10 minutes. And it's like, you don't know what you're talking about.
And then start sharing the false information.
Oh, that's the worst. Because I know when Nipsey Hussle passed away, everybody was saying that, he got assassinated because he's doing this documentary about Dr. Sebi, or it was that, and they were saying that that the military took him out. They were saying all kind of dumb shit, and it's just like y'all don't know nothing, but y'all comment and y'all want your little 15 minutes of fame. Y'all hoping that y'all blow up, or you want to get these views and things up so you get more followers. And it's like you talking about something you knew nothing about. You weren't there,
right? And you didn't even research it after the fact. So
you
take things and you run with it. So again, that's why when you presented that to me, I just started doing the research. Got to look it up.
And it's not hard to find because like I had to find the meme itself to find the woman's name, and then I looked it up to see like the full case of it.
Right.
You know, and then it popped up. It says that she had other charges. It wasn't the fact that she signed her child up to go to a different school.
They just included that in her plea deal.
Right. So. And a lot of times that's what it is. So, I mean, if she got 14 days, then...
Because, again, even going back into her only getting 14 days, you say only getting 14 days, but what should be the amount of time that you get for something of this nature?
Right. And I think a lot of people are just looking at, she's working when she got off easy. But at the same time, it's the nature of the crime. So the nature of the crime depends on the sentencing.
Yeah, and the intent. Her intent was to get her kid into a good school. Now her kid ain't getting into that good school, and she's out like $20,000.
Ah, damn.
So is that not part of the punishment? So she spent all this money to get her kid into the school. The scandal come out. She got to serve some prison time. Granted, it's only a couple of weeks, but she's out $20,000, $30,000, $40,000.
Yeah.
I mean, she could have gave it to us. It'd have been the same result. Her kid wouldn't have got in school and she'd have been out $40,000. She just wouldn't have served no jail time.
I guess when you look at, I thought about it a little more. I was thinking like, well, you know, it's no different than when I think like Dr. Dre and what's the guy, Jimmy Iovine, the guys who did Beats by Dre, they donated so much money. I want to say maybe 70 million. I think what I read, they donated 7 million, and they got like a building named after them at University of Southern California, something with USC, and Dr. Dre's daughter got a free ride. Which is
what a lot of those rich folks do.
Right.
They would donate a shit ton of money. They would get their name on the building, and their kids are getting to the college for free.
I mean, that's not bribery. That's a donation. So, but I mean, if your kid gets in because of your donation,
kid's still benefiting from it.
Yeah,
it's the exact same thing. The only difference is they didn't go about it. The people who, like we talked about before, the people who were involved in this scandal didn't go about it the right way. I guess because they didn't want to spend like $20 million on the building.
That's a bit much for a building. I mean, I think
talk to the colleges.
I mean, shit, college is expensive. Period.
Yeah, I mean that'll have to be a whole nother episode about the true cost of college.
We talk about our experience, so
right.
Yeah,
just being in college, we can talk about the true cost of college.
Yeah,
it's incredibly high.
So going back to the Botham Jean case, when Amber was being shown compassion, that didn't bother you any bit at all.
I have no reason to be upset about the fact that they chose to forgive her. I mean, I might have said fuck you, or no, I can't even say that I would because I don't really hold grudges, because at the end of the day, I don't let anybody have that much real estate in my brain.
Say that one more time for people out there.
I said at the end of the day, I don't let anyone have that much real estate in my brain. So I have no reason to hate anyone.
I think that's how we all should carry it, but teach his own.
Right.
So they're going to, if you can't let it go, find a way.
Because it changes nothing. The deed has already been done.
Yeah, so you hold on to that for what?
That's it. At the very least, there can be something, they can feel some sense of justice because the cop got convicted and sentenced.
That's a step in the right direction,
Right.
Because
accountability, which we do not see in law enforcement very often.
No, because let's see, we backtrack a little bit. The officer that killed Eric Gardner just got fired, probably like maybe a month or two ago.
And they had nothing to do with Eric Gardner.
So, and that took a long process because I was reading an article about that. They went to they went through all the proper channels, but I think it was the commissioner's last, like the head, like the top person in the police department. It was his final call. So the mayor was like, between the mayor and then the highest person, they were like, it gotta be done. And he's just holding on to it. Right. So, the officer that killed Fidel Castillo, he got fired, but got his pension though. The officer that killed Mike Brown got fired and then got collect his pension as well. So that's typically what you would see from these stories of killing
right. If the officer does get punished, they get sent on administrative paid leave. Yes. Until they get fired with full pension. If they get fired.
A big if at that. So I don't want to see more killings of black people, but people are gonna get killed regardless. But I'm hopeful to see that they do get prosecuted and convicted properly for their crime. Right. So
held accountable.
Yes, held accountable, because I think it's just so heartbreaking to see that these images and they're killing people and then nothing happens to them.
So I think that about sums up the topic.
Yeah, I think we touched on everything. We gave some enlightenment there.
Yeah, a little bit of insight. So as always, since it's the end of our show, I got to do my spiel. Check us out on YouTube. Check us out on SoundCloud. Check us out on Google Music Play. And check us out on Spotify, because I think iTunes is dead now.
Is it now?
I believe they're about to die soon.
Oh, yeah, they are.
So, yeah, you won't be able to check us out on iTunes anymore.
Well, I've only been tagging Spotify and SoundCloud for the longest, so y'all been following. And watch the videos on YouTube. You see our handsome faces.
Definitely. Anything else?
I can't think of nothing else.
All right. Peace out.
Peace.